I am back from Vegas. I survived media and radio row in Vegas. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about the thing we talk about best, and that's the Titans. I'm here with my boy Vinny tonight. Sal can't make it. Sammy, you know the deal. Start us up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Talking Titans.
Ladies and gentlemen, 94 yards. Touchdown, Titans! He is the baddest man in the NFL, and he just took her to the house.
The sickest Tennessee Titans podcast.
Sick!
It's gonna be sick.
No. We have to give props where props are due. Props to the sick team and everyone who does work behind the scenes. Sammy and Nilo, Juliana, the whole sick team, all the sick pods, but a special shout out to the man of the hour. Here, we'll give him a standing ovation.
Appreciate it.
Jarett put us on the map, the sick podcast. He met T. Higgins. The video blew up, 5 million views between all the different retweets and posts, and phenomenal job. You sounded better than I thought you would, to be honest. Very calm, cool, collected. You hid the accent pretty well. It comes out and talk a lot, But congratulations, man. That was awesome. We're more than happy for you. And hopefully it leads to big things with the sick podcast. But I'll tell you what, you might have scared those Cincinnati Bengals with that interview.
Oh, I definitely did. Now that all of a sudden that they're talking about franchise and tagging him.
Now they want to franchise T. Higgins, all because Jarett, his interview. So Jarett single-handedly scared $1 billion franchise. So props to you for that. Put that on your resume. But welcome back. Glad to have you back. But tell us about Vegas, man. How was it?
Dude, first of all, getting into the Mandalay Bay after getting out of the airport is an absolute maze. It took me about a half hour in total. And Elo's texting me, where the hell are you? I didn't even know where the hell. You got to go up and down and over and around and walk a mile to get media credentials, to go back this way, to go back down security, to come back up and get into media row. But once you're in there, it's like I open the door and it's like, oh my God, like you dream of it when you're a little kid, if you even want to go there, to cover an event like that and to cover even to talk to athletes like I did, man. Kurt Warner, Matt Hasselbeck, Chris Sims, Chris Johnson, T. Higgins. You turn left, right, all over the place. There's stars all over the place. Dr. Oz was there. Bobby Flay was there. The Bella Twins were there. Kay Adams. Everybody you can imagine is sitting there. And literally, they're at a podcast right next to you. Down the road, you're bumping into somebody. Brian Boldinger. Hey, how are you? Hey, Brian, how are you? It's like no one's like scummy, even though, some people may be. I'm not going to touch on names, but some people are, but mostly it's like a dream come true as a kid or somebody like us. Who would have thought that, coming into this, as Titan fans, we said, hey, we wanted to, do a podcast. We get picked up by the Sick Podcast. Thankfully for them, absolutely blessed that we're here because, being with them, meeting them in person the first time, this past weekend for the Super Bowl, I was kind of nervous going there. I had no idea what to expect, especially, for me, you and Sal. Sal is the most outspoken one. I'm kind of in the middle. And then like when you go there, you get handed a mic and you just say, go. And you try to find somebody, you sit down at a podcast. First thing I sat there, AC goes, hey, you ready? I said, yeah, I'm ready. I was a little nervous. I'm not going to tell him that, because you got to get the jitters out. But as soon as we walk over, we started walking, we bump into Jim Wyatt. Jim Wyatt, hey, you want to do a podcast? Sure, no problem. We go right there. Boom, sitting at a table 15 minutes into, Las Vegas. I'm doing a podcast with Jim Wyatt. First of all, shout out Jim Wyatt, one of the nicest guys you can ever meet. He is huge in person. I thought he was like my size. He's a big dude. Jim Wyatt's a big dude. Yeah, big dude, well-respected. And that whole weekend we were there.
Did he remember? Did he remember us?
He remembered us. He remembered coming on. He said it on the podcast as well. But that whole weekend after I seen him, it was a respectful wave. Hey, how are you? And same thing with Jarrett Stidham. Stillman was there. He shouted us on the podcast as well for getting the interview. So did so did 3HL. respecting the hustle. They Jarett, actually, we went over there to squash some beef because somebody said, he was stealing our work, and he said, absolutely not. I credited them, and I said, it's, stuff on the internet can get misconstrued. I just wanted to show face, introduce ourselves, and he gave us the card, so he wants to come on the show as well. So I mean, we met a lot of great contacts, man.
Absolutely.
A lot of great contacts. Well, it was awesome.
And as far as Sal being outspoken, I don't believe that. That's fake news. Sal, calm, cool, collected at all times. But that's also a very sick, no pun intended, sick shirt you got going on there, Mal. I might have to get them to ship me one. Question for you though: how short is Anillo in person?
How short is another person? He's probably dying laughing right now in the background. He is advertised as he is. He's got his bowling shoes. I know you busted his balls on the bowling shoes. Yeah. He said he's never taking those off. Those are the good luck ones. So AC, next time we're available with each other, you're bringing those shoes. I don't care what anybody says. Those are the good luck shoes. Brought a ton of luck last weekend for us in Vegas. So, but AC, he's got the average Italian size.
Yeah. We usually don't come any taller than maybe 5'9". Sal's definitely got some. I don't know, man. He's got some Slovenian in his blood or something. He's 6'3" or whatever he is. But that's awesome, man. Very happy for you.
Us.
Yes.
I'll take the credit. I'll take the credit for a lot of it. But
take the credit, bask in it, because I'm sure when you saw your name pop up on what's his name, Dove Kleeman, when you walk us through that, when you saw first off, walk us through the interview with T. Higgins. Did you see him? Just go up to him? Was it set up? And then when you saw the tweet with him, because he's got 250,000 followers, when you saw him retweet your interview with him and then tag the Sick Podcast in it, what was your reaction? Just walk us through that whole thing.
So that whole thing was where our booth was set up. We were set up kind of by FanDuel, which is right by Kay Adams, and they were on the Kay Adams show. So Sammy and me were sitting over there, and we were watching it, and we were hawking because he wanted a picture with T. Higgins too, and I had the mic ready to go for just a couple questions. So as they come off, how it is, it's kind of like cutthroat over there because they have PR people all around them. Hey, sorry, we can't do this right now. We're running on a tight schedule, because if they're going on live TV or if they're got to go somewhere for another podcast, understandable. So I'm not mad about that. But Sammy got a picture, I think, there, or no. I think they said no to the picture there. So we followed them to Bounty, where they were getting sponsored, and then they were doing a bunch of stuff. So they were there for about an hour. So, Sammy was watching over there. I was watching AC. Everybody was watching over there. When they came down, I told them, I need to get this interview for us because this is going to be huge. This was the one thing. And this was after Kurt Warner. I filmed Kurt Warner prior to that. Waiting.
Very cool guy, by the way. Gave you time. Gave you a thorough answer. Didn't bullshit your answers, his answers for your questions.
Yeah, but he was very cool. I don't know if the whole video got posted, but I did. Once we stopped at the booth where he was supposed to be going, I'll get back to the T. Higgins after. But once we got back to the booth where he stopped, and he stopped at Will Levis' question, I asked him what was the most embarrassing moment. I don't know if you guys seen that.
Yeah, I did see that.
All right, so he was pretty cool about that. So him falling off the treadmill, that was pretty cool. But if you notice in that video, really quick, if you're going to look back and anybody's listening, I was shaking in that video because I was standing next to
I did see your hand a little bit.
I was standing next to a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I switched the mics from my right to my left. And but listen, he is one of the nicest guys ever.
Did he apologize for beating our squad in the Super Bowl?
I didn't even tell him that. Dude, it was so hard pressed. So once we were done with that interview, we ran right over to the T. Higgins thing. I seen him come over there, and they were throwing like this, the bounty into like a circle thing. And when he was standing there, he didn't have his PR people. I said, "Hey T, when you're done, can I get 2 questions real quick?" He said, "Yeah, 2 questions." I said, "No problem." So he finished. I grabbed him. Nobody knew the question that I was going to ask. And I don't even think it came 2 seconds real quick. I wanted to ask him about the Callahan situation. And then that's why there was that long pause with him. Because I didn't even tell him I'm talking about the Titans, Brian Callahan, nothing. That's why I was that long pause, because he was like, "Oh shit, like, is this the way it's going to go?" So I asked him, and I said, I needed this interview. As soon as I asked those questions, I knew it was going to blow up. AC stopped filming. He fucking pushed me. He goes, "That is absolutely huge." And from that point on, nicest guy in the world too, by the way. Shout out T. Higgins. He is nice as hell. And Jamar Chase, he's nice too. But T. Higgins, TA free agency, we want him on the Titans. Nice as hell. But as soon as that happened and Dove retweeted that, and put that on his page, I said, damn, dude, this is gonna blow up good for us. It's gonna credit Sick Podcast. It's gonna credit Sick Pod Talking Titans as well. Boost everything just to know that everybody knows that, hey, us three guys, we're not working and doing this, just because. We love the Titans. We love bringing the content to you guys, and we're gonna be here for the near future. So we're not going anywhere, and we're just gonna keep coming with the content, and we're gonna keep coming with the guests because we met a lot of people out there, a lot of contacts. So the best is yet to come for the Sick Pod Talking Titans, in my opinion.
So though, what were you doing when you saw that Kleeman or Kleiman, whatever his name is, no disrespect, I'm unsure of it. But when he posted the video and tagged the Sick Pod in it, and you saw yourself in this video, what was your reaction? Were you eating food? Put it out?
No.
We were just call your wife.
No, she's not on Twitter like that. But I'm sure, like everybody, all my friends were saying the same.
All your
thing.
buddies were texting you, I'm sure.
They were getting the alerts and everything. So like, oh my god, dude! Like, because no one really knew. Right away. I just said I interviewed T. Higgins. They didn't see anything right away because I didn't want to post it on my page myself. I wanted to post it on the Titan and our page on Talking Titans. So no, I just said I interviewed him. But once that happened, I was like, we were just walking around trying to grab interviews, and we're like, holy shit, Dove and JP Football, I think, picked it up too as well.
There was a handful of people, and then you got all the love, or we got all the love, I should say, that you laid the groundwork for on the podcast where they shouted us out. And then even the people who tried to steal your work, me and Sal did a good job of saying, listen, we're going to cite sources here or what? Because, we love the fact that T. Higgins wants to come here, but let's credit the man who got the interview. So that was awesome, man. I was so happy for you, dude. I was literally driving, and I shouldn't do this, but a lot of people do. They're on their phone a lot sometimes with their lights and shit. And I was at a light, and I popped up, I pulled up Twitter, and I don't follow Kleeman. I do now, but at the time I didn't. But I see his stuff all the time come up on my page. And it was after you had sent us the video. And then I was scrolling, and I said, no fucking way. I literally pulled over and was like, holy shit. Texted you, congratulated you. I mean, that was huge. I think it's still getting views. I think that video in and of itself is close to 600,000 views, I want to say.
Yeah.
Did you lose me there? Can you hear me?
I got you. I lost you there for a second, but I think it generated almost over 5 million views, which is with all pages combined, which is absolutely insane. I mean,
yeah, it is nuts. I mean, listen, if it just goes to show a little bit of hard work, a little bit of moxie, anything's possible. Yeah. So good for you. I was so happy for you. I was texting my buddies. As soon as I got home, I told my fiance, I was like, you're not going to believe this. Not that she knows anything about the Titans or, but I explained to her, I'm like, this guy's got 250,000 followers. He tweeted the video. Jared's in it. He tagged the podcast. I think we picked up some subscribers and some followers as well. So that like I said,
right then and there, we're not full of it, man. We're like I said, we're here for the long run. And we're coming with the content even more this year. We got stuff lined up. So
who was your biggest? Holy shit! I'm seeing them in person moment.
Oh man, that's
if you had to pick one, or you can give a top three, no particular order. Because you could say, we've had Jim Wide on the show. We've had.
You're talking about football. You're talking about football, or just radio personnel.
I'm talking about in general. It could have been Bobby Flay if you're a big cooking guy. I don't know.
Just in general,
your biggest
general names. Pat McAfee, because I'm a big fan of Pat McAfee, Kay Adams, obviously. But if we're going to go football players wise, Cam Newton, maybe one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. He's enormous. Rob Gronkowski was another one, man. A big fan of him. He is advertised just the way he is, a clown, humongous, just walking through sets and just yelling at people.
Clown in a good way, Gronk. We didn't mean to call you
a clown in a very good way. Just walk past
true to
sets,
yourself, Gronk.
Screaming. And
you saw Warren Moon. I did see that.
I did see Warren Moon.
Legend. Yep.
He was cool. And then just a lot of people, man. It's not like you're starting. I saw Emmitt Smith. He was sitting next to us on a podcast close by.
But I guess when you're in that moment, you kind of have to put your childish
fanboy aside,
starstruck reaction to aside and compartmentalize and realize, Yeah, exactly. You got to, that you are one of them, essentially. You're a part of that media day, that media week, So shout out to you for keeping your calm. That was awesome. But you got to meet some people, great contacts. Hopefully picked up some more sponsors. Your boys want to get married in a couple weeks. But that's awesome, man. So I'm more than happy for you and the whole team, and glad that you got to experience that, and hopefully next year Sal and I can come out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be insane if we had all three of us, each corner surrounded, grab
Man.
mics and everything. But enough of the Vegas talk. A lot of stuff that broke down with the Titans while I was in Vegas. And then since this whole week has happened, we've hired an offensive coordinator, Nick Holes and Denard Wilson. Did you watch any of their press conferences? What was your thoughts on that and how they're going to bring that nastiness to the defense this year?
I'm a bit familiar with the defensive coordinator that we brought in because he was on Philadelphia's staff for a little bit, and I live 15 minutes outside of Philadelphia. And I'm familiar with him. My brother actually texted me and said, "You're going to like this guy." He was with the Eagles. A lot of people wanted him to get promoted from within when they promoted Desai. But he said, "You're going to love this guy. He's a great defensive mind." As far as the offensive coordinator, I said it before, not to say that Callahan wants a yes man, but he's going to want someone that thinks the same way he does. Someone who's not going to, he can, bounce ideas off of, someone whose opinion he respects, but also someone who's going to kind of be his right-hand man. You know what I mean? I don't know much about him, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. But I was very happy with the defensive coordinator hire. Our defense needs work, especially on the back end. I know his specialty is as a secondary coach. I know that that's the role he had in Baltimore, I'm pretty sure. So I'm more than happy to have him on our staff, because we do still have some pieces on that defense that you can work with. Jeffrey Simmons, Roger McCreary. We'll see what happens otherwise in the linebacking core and in the secondary, but a guy like that you love to see. I'm very happy with the staff that we put together. He brought his father in, which was huge. Teron Davenport, a friend of the show, an ESPN insider for the Titans, spoke the world of him and said, "Man, if he can get his father to come with him, man, that's his." Not only is it a great hire because he's a great coach, but that is the position group that we need to fine tune more than anything else, in my opinion, even more than receiver. Because if you have a decent offensive line, you can, with a quarterback like Will Levis who can throw the ball from any angle on the field, you can make up for that lack of talent at the receiver position. But when you don't have an offensive line and your quarterback don't have time to throw, I mean, it's all for nothing. So the fact that he was able to, shout out the Browns for allowing them to let him leave and come coach for his son. That's awesome. But it seems like it's a group of knowledge. Bill Callahan's been in the league forever. Denard Wilson, I believe his name is, the defensive coordinator, been in the league forever. So it seems like we have a young head coach who put together a staff of well-respected people that have been in the league for a while. And I'm looking forward to it. We've not to get ahead of myself, but it seems like we got the head coaching hire right, which is yet to be seen, of course. But from what we're hearing, he is highly regarded in the league, and he put together a staff that I think is going to be, at the end of the day, work for us, and it's going to be a respected unit, from the offensive line coach to the defensive coordinator to the offensive coordinator. I think we put together a staff that is going to be well respected and put their nose to the grindstone and hopefully turn this thing around sooner rather than later. So, listen, we can talk to her blue in the face about who we hire and how happy we are, but until we see the product on the field, it's neither here nor there. Next step is the combine, obviously, but then we know free agency starts soon after that. Yeah, soon after that. So my question is for you. Obviously, your thoughts on the hires at the coordinator positions and the position coaches. Your thoughts on that, but also your thoughts on who you think we're going to really target in free agency, considering it looks like you scared the Bengals into franchise tagging T. Higgins.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because that was going to be my question to you. So I'm glad we're going to talk about that. But just to touch on the Brian Callahan and everything, Bill Callahan situation as well. Talked to a lot of people, Chris Sims, Matt Hasselbeck, Brian Baldinger. They all absolutely, three of them were shocked that Mike Vrabel was not still the head coach off camera, even though Baldinger and Matt Hasselbeck said it on camera. Chris Simmons said it off camera that he was shocked. And but they had high praise for Brian Callahan, especially him bringing his father in, who is one of the best coaches in general in the NFL. So they say he brings what he brings to a team and an offense is going to be very nasty, like T. Higgins said in the spread version of the offense. So it's going to help Will Levis develop a lot going into year 2, which is I'm very happy for. So just to hear that from NFL guys, guys that actually played in the NFL and have connections in the NFL, it's actually huge to hear that as a fan of the Titans, because we don't know what we really have in Will Levis. It's only been 9 games. Now we need a developer, and who's better to do that than Brian Callahan, who's been with Peyton Manning and Matthew Stafford and Derek Carr and now, Joe Burrow. And now the father is going to lay the foundation in front of him, for the line. So I'm excited with that. And like I said, Nick Holes is just, his buddy, and he's going to be the call sheet guy, and he's going to be the, not the necessarily the play caller, but a guy to lean on him. So
yeah, absolutely. Not a yes man, because we want to give him more respect than that. But he's going to be a guy who's going to be, like you said, his right hand man, who's going to, bounce ideas off of one another. But he's also going to be.
Yeah. Exactly. You there, Vin?
Someone lost somebody. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I lost you there for a second. But like Holes is going to be that guy for him, just to lean on, and they're going to piggyback off each other.
And if the offense looks good, he probably won't be here too long. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, because that means your offense is humming.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully. And Denard Wilson, touch on him, like you said, everybody loved him. All the players that he was with, Darius Slay, defensive back for the Eagles, said that he should have been a defensive coordinator a long time ago for his show. And for him showing that he wants to be here, this is where he wanted to be, is huge, man. So that's saying something, whether he likes Caleb Farley, he sees something in him, because he said, we're going to play something different here. We're going to play man, and we're going to be in your face. So, sometimes we really didn't play man here on the Vrabel. Our cornerbacks were back 7 to 8 yards sometimes, and we weren't playing press a lot. So, we'll see what happens with him. So, he's an X's and O's guy. I hope he hits the ground running and plays a nasty style of defense. To touch on the free agency now, I was thinking about this all day. I was thinking about it on the plane there, because I really wanted to ask somebody that. But now, with tampering, like Jim Wyatt can't talk about it. And some other guys, like players, if you talk to a player, God forbid you ran into somebody over there, like for T. Higgins, I asked them, do you want to go to Tennessee? How would it be?
You tampered the hell out of T. Higgins. I love it.
I can't tamper the hell out of it, because I don't work for the team. So I can ask away.
Exactly.
But who I would go after if nobody's going to be tagged.
Play devil's advocate, they tag T. Higgins. What's our next best bet?
I would love, honestly, because there's no sexy offensive lineman coming out this year that's going to be your first guy. You have to give it to like Snead or something.
Yeah.
You have to go cornerback, and you have to solidify the back end of that defense as well. Even if the Chiefs do try to tag him, I don't know. Maybe you go after like a Tyler Boyd type guy. I don't know if they want to go Mike Evans right away. To me, I would go like a veteran slot kind of guy with
Tyler Boyd. I love Mike Evans. I don't think that he fits right now.
We have Hopkins.
Yeah, exactly. So why would you pay him? And Mike Evans is going to command top dollar, as he should, future first ballot Hall of Famer. But we can't have all that money tied up between him and Hopkins. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be mad if they signed him. I just don't see it as the move. I think Tyler Boyd is much more reasonable and financially feasible. It's a $5 word right there, a few people out there. But I think he'll go on a short deal, maybe a 2-year, $18-20 million deal, $9-10 million a year, where he gives himself an opportunity to cash in again after a short-term deal. And let's be honest, the reason why we get sometimes free agents and coaches, Nashville is one of the hottest cities in the country.
Yeah, man.
It's a fun city. You can't not have fun, country music or not. I've been there a few times. It's a lot of fun, and it's a state that has no income tax. So obviously your money's taxed elsewhere, but you do save a chunk of change with the no state income tax in the state of Tennessee. So we'll always be a selling point, in my opinion. And now we have hopefully a franchise quarterback. So I would love to see someone like T. Higgins, obviously, but if not him, Tyler Boyd would be great. Snead, I would write a blank check to. Just like you said, to get back to that old physical style of defense that we were so used to. We might lose our identity not lose our identity, but change our identity offensively. But defensively, I'd love to see that old school, Cortland Finnegan, Kyle Van Bosch, Albert Hainsworth, where it is Keith Bullock, in your face, nasty defense, not afraid to throw hands if need be. So yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I guess it's all contingent too on what we plan on doing in the draft, but maybe we sign one of the big isn't there a couple tackles that are free agents?
Yeah, but then it's not like crazy, like top of the market kind of guys. They could be like top 25 and 24th. But those are plug and play guys that actually can make a difference in this league, especially with Bill Callahan now there.
And just because we have all this money too, I don't think we should spend it recklessly. I don't think we should hand out money just to hand it out. You saw a team like the Bears do that last year, giving out money to a bunch of free agents who might have not been exactly worth it. And although their record was a little better than it was the year prior, they didn't see the turnaround that they really had hope for. So I don't want to spend money recklessly. I don't think that's Rand's MO. I know he's an analytics guy, so he's going to try to find value where it is. But do you think – here's a question for you. I know we got to get off soon. Do you think we re-sign someone like Azeez Al-Shaair?
I think that we should re-sign him. He played a key factor, and he's the typical linebacker in this day and age in the NFL. I think they try to pair him up with somebody in free agency because Jack Campbell and all the rest of the guys that we had on this roster just really didn't cut it. And I think that played a factor. I mean, you can crucify me all you want in the comments. Jack Gimmons, yes, statistically he looked great, but theoretically, do you really want him as your every down linebacker? I would love like a Greenlaw. I mean, he's contracted by
he ain't playing next year.
Yeah, I know that was heart wrenching for a 49ers fan. But you're not going to get it. You're not going to trade for a guy like that. But we maybe have to find a guy like that in the draft, or maybe we trade one. So I'm not ruling out any trades. Here's my bold. I have a couple bold predictions here because I'm a bipolar Titans fan, as you are and you are. I'm talking about you. And I'm talking about the everybody watching
there with Sal and shit with the bipolar.
Listen,
stuff.
We're all bipolar Titan fans. So what I'm saying is, don't rule out a trade here, whether it be for a veteran lineman, a veteran wide receiver, or a veteran defensive type kind of guy. But also another bold prediction. This is why I call myself bipolar, is because I was out. I'll be the first one to admit it. I'll tell you when I'm out on somebody. I was the first guy out on Treylon Burke. Okay. Coming into this now, does it give you does your gears start turning as a Titans fan to say, hey, he was under Tim Kelly, he was under Todd Downing with Mike Vrabel. Maybe they kind of ruined him, took him out of that play style that he was in, and now Brian Callahan's coming in here and saying, we're going to put the guys in the right position to succeed what they're best at. So maybe I was all the way out on him. I'm going to say I'm 10% back in. I'm not going to give him anything crazy. I'm 10% back in on Treylon Burks because you know why? We kind of need him. He was a first-round receiver who we desperately need. Maybe if they put him in the right situation and in a situation for him to succeed, and crossers instead of just running fades and running routes to just, have people drag with him and everything. Maybe Brian Callahan finds a way to get him the ball and more involved in this offense. So, I mean, that's a bold prediction for me.
I tend to agree with you somewhat. I think a lot of knee-jerk reactions with him this year were, forget this guy. He was a wasted pick. And I think we still unfairly compare him to A.J. Brown because he was our pick to replace him, and he has not lived up to that draft status where we picked him, I think, 18th overall at all. But I'll tell you what, he's not going anywhere. No. He's in the third year of a 4-year deal. We pay those first-round picks get paid just about their whole salary up front. So we are keeping him for next to nothing, and he has shown flashes. The giant catch he had at the game I was at week 2 against the Chargers, maybe the best throw of Tannehill's career where he just ran a straight 9 route, and it kind of changed the momentum of the game a little bit. The Green Bay game last year, the catch against Philly last year where he made the catch and then was knocked out of the game, but still to go up there and catch the ball like that. The way we saw him in training camp just taking over. The potential is there. If this wasn't a make or break year for him this past year, this year definitely is. I'm not here. Listen, don't expect much and you won't be disappointed. You expect the world. Sometimes you're let down. So let's take it for a grain of salt and, wish nothing but the best for the guy. But until he now proves it, unfortunately, there's not much we can expect out of him. It's one of those I'll believe it when I see it situations. I wouldn't call that the hottest of hot takes, though, because you've seen, players take a few years to come into their own. Like you said, he was playing for Tim Kelly, lame duck, playing for Todd Downing, lame duck, playing for Mike Vrabel, defensive coach. So maybe this new, young, innovative, offensive-minded head coach that we have will pay dividends for him. You never really know. I would love to see him play like a T. Higgins type to, DeAndre Hopkins #1. If Hopkins is Jamar Chase in this offense, then I would love to see Treylon Burks play that T. Higgins type role.
So time out real quick. Now, let's say, T. Higgins basically is not coming this year. He's going to get tagged. But it's not if, it's when he comes. So the following year, he's coming home. I had a sense of it when I interviewed him. He smiled.
He said it. He straight up.
Even off camera. Even off camera, he said, obviously he said it's ideal. To come home, play by family, it's ideal. So it's not if, it's when. Okay. So I'll take credit for that when that comes.
Absolutely.
But besides that, now, we're talking about receivers. What's your take on Brandon Ayuk and Juan Jennings? What about a whole different wide receiver room? Instead of NWY, you unplug Juan Jennings, who had a fantastic game in the Super Bowl, and now you have a disgruntled Brandon Ayuk who wants out and who is eligible to be out unless they tag him as well. Do you go after him?
I think Juan Jennings would be perfect for a Mike Vrabel type, a nasty receiver who likes to block downfield. In an expanded role where he is given the opportunity to have the ball in his hands. I think he showed in that Super Bowl that, he can be productive. I don't want to overpay for him for the right price.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind him on this team. As far as Brandon Ayuk, I don't know. I do like him a lot. But as far as paying him top tier money, I don't want to do that. I think we can allocate our assets financially in other positions. If we're going to go after a receiver, I'd rather pay Tyler Boyd probably 2 years, 18, 19 million than, give Brandon Ayuk 15, 20 million a year, which is what I think he'll command. But we'll see. I'm not going to be mad at any upgrade we make at the position, but I don't see Juwan Jennings as a game breaker, needle mover, as Sal likes to say. I think he's a nice complementary piece to an offense.
Yeah, I'm not saying game changer.
But yeah, listen, and all these guys have the Rand ties, the Rand San Fran ties. So bringing in someone like that would not surprise me in the least bit. But to be honest with you, I'd rather us pay someone like Tyler Boyd a short-term deal than, invest in Ayuk for 3 to 5 years for 12, 15 million a year, which is what I'm assuming he'll command something around that. Plus I don't like the shit. You can't control everybody, but his fiance being like, I hate when spouses and fathers and mothers and open up their mouth. It's a distraction. And I don't want any of that. You can't control, what your girlfriend or your wife, your fiance or your father, or your mother, or your brother might say, but I want more of a quiet, I'm going to put my head to the grindstone and work hard and be quiet. And I'll make sure that the people that are around me are quiet and don't stir up any bullshit. Cause you see what Ayuk's, girlfriend or fiance went on Twitter or Instagram and said oh, we're done, this, that, whatever with this team. I don't want any of that. And not to say that that's going to come with him, but I wouldn't be knocking on his door to sign him, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about it. He's a above average player. I don't think he's a great player, but for the money he's going to command on the open market, I don't think he's worth it, in my opinion. We have, a glaring need at the offensive line, a glaring need in the secondary, a glaring need at the linebacker position. A glaring need on the defensive line position. Should we lose to Nico Autry? Should Harold Landry become a cap casualty? A lot of different other ways we can spend our money. Before we close up for the night, well, actually, first I'll give you a chance at that question. How open would you be to someone like a Tyler Boyd, Jennings, Ayuk type player?
I would not. That would not bother me whatsoever. Any three of those players. I know I'm not going to spend $20 to $25 million on any one of them. So if it commands a good number, and Juan Jennings can replace Nick Westbrook-Akina, I think that's a slight upgrade in that. And also, he would be coming back home as well because he played his college football in Tennessee. Brandon Ayuk, I think he had 1,300 yards this year or somewhere damn near close to it.
Good receiver.
So he can definitely be a complimentary piece, especially you have him, and then you bring alongside T. Higgins next year. You have two fantastic wide receivers, and you still have Tajay Spears in the backfield, who you're paying next to nothing on on is going to be his third year going into next year. Yep. Not this year, next year going forward. And you still have Will Levis under contract as well with that rookie deal. So, that could be the play that they go that way. But before we get into your last question, I just want to throw one more question at you as well. A lot of talks around Derrick Henry this offseason. I tried asking Chris Johnson the question. He doesn't really know which directions they're going to go. If they're going to rebuild, they're going to retool. If they should resign him, he said they should just to keep him as a lifer on the team. If they don't re-sign Derrick Henry, do you think Tajay Spears can be a 3-down back for us? And how do you see the Titans complimenting him with? Do you see them going after like Gus Edwards in free agency? Do you see them drafting a running back in Blake Corum in the later rounds, or even Estime, the Notre Dame running back as well? How do you see the running back room looking if Derrick Henry's not a Titan no more?
Well, I can't believe I'm going to say this because I'm staring at his signed jersey on my wall, but I do not think we're going to re-sign him. Nor do I think we should. I think we have turned the page on the old style of Titans football. If they did re-sign him, listen, I'm not going to be upset. I'm not. He is arguably the best running back in the history of our franchise. We've had a lot of great ones. He's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. But I just think that his time is up. So my heart always wants him to see him in two-tone blue. It will pain me as much as it will pain you and Sal and AC and Sammy to see him in another team's colors, but that's part of the business. I don't think we re-sign him. I wouldn't mind someone like a Gus Edwards or bringing back a Dante Foreman in free agency, but I think Rand Carthon hit a home run with Tajay Spears in the third round. He comes from a team in San Fran until they traded for McCaffrey. Plug and played a lot of different running backs. Clearly, he knows what he's doing at that position. Rand was a running back. He has history bringing in guys that fit the system in San Fran. He drafted Tajay Spears. I don't think we go spend, any kind of crazy money on a running back. I think we draft one in the mid to late rounds to complement Tajay Spears. Tajay is dynamic as all hell. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. Yes, he's a little undersized. Nowadays, I feel like you got to have two of them. You have to. If you're going to run the ball 25, 30 times, you got to be splitting it between 12 and 15 touches between two backs, in my opinion. They help keep each other fresh. The day of a 3-down running back is kind of over, in my opinion. The style is a little outdated. So I think we do not re-sign Derrick Henry. If we go after someone in free agency, hopefully it's on a cheap 1-year deal, Gus Edwards, Dante Foreman for $3-4 million. But my heart of hearts thinks that Rand Carthon has a knack at finding good running backs that fit his system, and I think he's going to do that again. Although I think Blake Corum is not going to slip past probably the third round because I think Jim Harbaugh is going to bring his boy with him to the Chargers because Eckler's gone. They need a back. I think if Corum's there in the third round, they take him. Wouldn't be mad if the Titans got him.
Yeah.
Before I stop my rant. But yes, I think we get a running back in the draft, not free agency. But I wouldn't be opposed if the right deal presents itself with a player like Gus Edwards or Dante Foreman.
All right, there you have it. I mean, we're gonna wrap up, and just before we're gonna wrap up, I'm just gonna show you some more pictures in Vegas. But before we do that, I went to the jewelry store out there, and I bought some bling, man. Just because everybody else does it in Vegas, I had to get the big Vegas, chain,
Wow.
for the Super Bowl.
And now Jarett,
Spent about $250,000 now that I'm big over there in Vegas. I had to get the big chain out there. So Sammy, throw some pictures up from Vegas again so everybody can see it. That was me and the boy Adam Rank, hustled hard. He had everybody at the table. Dr. Oz, Karen,
same
Tom,
hairstyle as AC.
Yeah, same hairstyle as AC. Matt Hasselback, we ran into, great guy. Also, Tom Palacero, man. Now we're the inside.
How we doing, cuz?
We have the insight in the NFL. Not really anymore, but great guy in Tom Palacero. Obviously, Chris Johnson. That was another starstruck. That was another
looking a little sick in retirement.
He looks like he can still run the ball, man. But another great dude. But I mean, obviously, you saw the T. Higgins one, but the Vegas trip was huge. It put us on the map even more. A lot of people know us now. A lot of people want to come on the show. We got great things going on for this year, for this upcoming year. I'm sure Sal's going to touch on some things when he gets back. He couldn't make it tonight. He had to deal with work. So Vin, you got anything before we're going to sign out of here?
No, man, I'm just sorry that your kids now have to go to community college because you spent their college tuition on a chain in Vegas. But hopefully we got more of that sponsor money rolling in. I brought it up before. I'll bring it up again. Come on now.
The best is yet to come for the Sick Podcast, Talking Titans.
That's right.
So it's been a pleasure to be back with you, sitting back here, talking Titans and talking about the Vegas trip. I appreciate you asking. I appreciate you following the journey because we're on this together, and so is Sal. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate the people behind the camera. So with that said, we will see you next week. Stay tuned for a lot more guests coming up this year in the offseason. So, Sammy, you know the deal. Send us out, baby.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.